What is going on, everyone? We went racing last weekend on Sunday. Went to the airport hare scramble and the MidEast hare scramble series. I decided to do the 11 a.m. race. Ran the Sportsman A class. We pretty much line up in the back row and battle through all the sea riders. So here we are on the start. I got a decent start, third into the woods. I haven't really figured out how to start on my four-stroke yet. I've been on the 350 for a few years now, and I still just can't figure out how to get them hole shots. The track was surprisingly more wet than I thought it was going to be. I almost expected dusty conditions because I don't really think it's rained recently at my house, and I'm not that far from this course, about an hour or so. But we get into the woods, and this is a MidEast course, so they're typically a little bit wider than what I'm used to. I typically race most of the North Carolina hare scrambles and the national enduros. So with MidEast having four-wheelers on Saturdays, they typically have just a little bit wider trail. But here we are, we're going into it. Like I said, I'm third into the woods right now. Just trying to get a feel for what the ground's doing. You can see right there, there's some pretty sloppy sections. And like these sections right here, if you're not careful on the throttle, you're just gonna spin out. There is very little traction. That little goalie right there, I figured out later on in the race, if you just launch the side of it on the far left, you went straight across. You didn't have to slow down at all. It was actually really quick to go on the left and just gun it through it. But you see how it's kind of glossy on the ground. It's so slick. Just, trying not to spin out, trying to keep traction, trying to keep moving forward. Like I said, we're in the Sportsman A class, so this is all the A guys that want to race but don't want to stick around for the later race. That's the main reason why I do it. I don't want to race at, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I like to, wake up, go racing, go home. Everyone in front of us, for the most part, is going to be sea riders. So we're going to be going a little bit quicker than they are, and passing can sometimes be a challenge during these races. So you see right there, they just kind of come back out in the trail, and you got to be ready for them. I typically hoot a little bit. Some people say I have an Indian call that I do. It's really just to let people know I'm there. I do kind of say, let's go, just kind of let people know I'm there, let them know that I'm ready to get around. I know it's not always convenient for me to squeeze by where I do, but give me an edge and I'll take it. There's a couple rocks in this little section right here that would catch people off guard. And with that, I think I just got into second or first. I think I had already passed second, and then now in that little rock section, I got into first. That's another thing I like to yell, is not in your class, Yeah, that guy, I felt sorry for that guy. As I was passing him, his handlebar caught my forearm, and I just kind of strong-armed him and made sure that I didn't crash, which I think ended up him crashing. Sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to do it. But as I was saying, actually, I don't remember what I was saying. So sections like this, I hate stopping. I do not like to stop during a race. Hey, there's Gary Greer. He races with me in AA in the North Carolina series. He's a big competition for me. So when I saw him pulling up next to me, I kind of got in a little bit of panic mode, not gonna lie. I wanted to make sure I stayed ahead of him, because when he's ahead of me, he pulls from me. So this was a hill climb that caused a lot of issues for the morning class. Hey, there goes Gary again. Nope, got him back by, and almost took out a spectator. Sketchy line. Would have worked great if my foot peg didn't grab a root that was still fully attached. It brought me to a complete dead stop. That guy was moving already, so I was like, hey, pull me, trying to hopefully get me free, but my bike was hooked. I knew it was hooked on something, I just couldn't figure out what it was hooked on. I tried to get them to help me around the backside to see if they could help me pick up the rear end, just because I couldn't pick up the rear end, and I wasn't getting any traction, it wasn't going anywhere, and I was just struggling. Kind of the heat of the moment panic mode, trying to figure out what's going on. Chaos everywhere, people stuck. And then my knight in shining armor, Mr. Alan Copeland, came out of nowhere and started dragging my front wheel. I really appreciate it, Alan. You helped me get loose from that situation. I was able to kick the root past my foot peg while he was pulling, and it allowed me to get up on top and keep moving. But that's the biggest thing with these races. Just keep moving. Don't stop in the trail. Just keep moving. If you need to stop or you're stuck or whatever, just try to get on the side of the trail. That way people can keep going. So whenever I crashed right then, or not really crashed, but got stuck, I hurt my finger. I don't know if I hit it on something or something smacked it, but like my index fingernail is bruised right now from it. So pulling in the clutch, felt good. Not really. So we're just cruising along the trail. We're still on the first lap. Just trying to get a feel for the terrain. At this moment, I'm still in first place for the race. So just cruising along, trying to get my composure back, lower my heart rate down after trying to wrestle the bike over that little knoll thing that didn't work out for me. So I'm just kind of pacing with this guy for a second. And he kind of slid out, and unfortunately I kind of T-boned into him, but I got by. He didn't go down, I didn't go down, so it was a win-win. So we're coming up on all the Sea Riders. I kind of just do a little hoot. Sometimes I'll yell left or right. Sometimes I'll yell inside, outside. Sometimes I'll just kind of make a little noise. That way you're aware that I'm behind you. I'm not a big rever, so I'm not going to pull my clutch and just rev out my bike to the moon so that you can hear me. I'd rather be a little more vocal. It's easier for me to do it that way. I've noticed that whenever I rev my bike, it kind of throws off my flow. So what that guy did right there, he knew I was behind him, so he pointed. He wanted me to pass on the left. So I know that he's aware that I'm going to come squeezing by on the left. That is the best thing you can do right there. So this little section, I ended up realizing later that the line on the far right down there in that mud was a lot faster. And it was actually really good because it was just rock underneath. This guy's roosting me like crazy. He is just absolutely throwing mud. So I'm ready to get out from behind him because I'm tired of eating mud.
Let's go!
Here's another thing. When you're riding along and you hear someone come up behind you, they're obviously faster than you. Move over. Choose one side of the trail, stick to that one side of the trail, and the guy will get past you, and then you can hopefully latch onto his rear tire and let him pull you along. When he's behind you making a bunch of noise, hooting and hollering, it puts a lot of pressure on you. And what I've found out is a lot of people sometimes make mistakes because they just end up trying to override because of the pressure. So if you can let the guy just get past you real quick, then you can keep going. So this race had a couple really tight sections. That was the end of one of them. This is a little bit further in the race, but you can see all the traffic it was relentless. So right there I'm yelling outside so he knows where I am. I'm just trying to pick my way through. Again, yelling outside. That spot right there was super slick. It was so greasy. So we're going down the hill. So I'm gonna try to squeeze on the inside right here, but it was just a little too late. I wasn't close enough. Luckily I didn't take either of us out. And now he definitely knows I'm there, so he pointed, I shot by. Thankfully that other person slowed down enough for me to squeeze through. This little wood section right here, it was pretty fun. I liked it. It was kind of weird just going back and forth. there wasn't really much of a bank for you to use, so you had to be careful on the throttle so you didn't spin out. There was a couple different lines that I tried through this section. That was one of the slower ones. Shooting around the outside was the fastest way through. This is the end of lap 1, and I come through and I'm in first place. So I ended up keeping that for the rest of the race. Ended up first overall, or first in Sportsman A, and then 6th overall. This was a fun section too. Really fast, you could just really lay into it and kind of use the edge of the trails to bounce off of and make it through the turns. But it was a little slick underneath, so you just had to be aware. So fast forward again. Let's see, where are we? So this is another coming down into the single track stuff. I made a lot of passes with that little inside line right there. So here's my Indian call. I'm just like, woo, 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 woo. And I just let people know I'm there. Fast forward again. See, he pointed to the right. I squeezed by to the right, said thanks. Now he can continue on at his pace. I get to continue on at my pace. Fun course. I enjoyed it. Flowed pretty well. There wasn't anything too crazy. There was no major mud holes that you got caught up in. You know, it was a fun race. I actually enjoyed it a lot. This section was fun. You could really hammer into it. It got kind of sketchy towards the end. It just started squaring out a lot on the straight. There's just some square edges that would bounce you around. One thing that I've been struggling at is just hammering through the wide open stuff. I'm good in the tight trees, but I lack high speed sections. So I'm trying to focus this year on really just hammering the high speed stuff and trying to keep my momentum as quick as I can through it. I tend to get past the most in sections like that. Here was a good line that some guys pointed out. I appreciate when people point out good lines because there's a big mud hole over there. And they pointed out pretty much a straight through that avoided every aspect of it. This little section right here was a bunch of off camber with some rocks, and it was pretty greasy. So you really just had to ride the edge and just pick a good line. Make sure your wheels have a good base underneath you. So fast forwarding again. Coming into a tight section, I think. So they're just coming into some woods. It's a bad line right there. Just trying to make passes. So, yep, see, he pointed, I went. Just trying to keep moving forward.
Inside.
Just letting him know where I was.
Let's go.
Coming into a tight section right here. You know, I know it's hard to pass through here, and as a racer, like, you're racing your race. You don't want to stop. But it's painful for me to go this slow through these sections. Racing the National Enduros for as long as I have, like, I've really got good at tight woods. So whenever I'm just kind of dabbling through these tight woods like this, it's a struggle for me. It's actually harder for me to go slow than it is to hammer fast through it. He fell over. I fell over on him. Not his fault, not my fault. Yeah, just a little bit of frustration. So I get the bike back up, keep going. Little trailer park we had to run through. It's not a trailer park, but just an abandoned trailer in the woods. This section right here was sketchy. It was an old mulch pile that they kind of pushed out, and it ended up getting really soft that would suck your tires in if you didn't pick a right line. Another fast section I'm, trying to work on. Instead of letting off the gas, I should have held the gas through that. I probably should have clicked up a gear so I could hammer third a little bit harder. again, just kind of let that guy know. So last thing I want to do is clip bars with someone and take us both out. Rolling down into this. This is a fun little section right here. You come through here, and then I would click third and really just lay into it and let the front wheel get real light. It was fun. And back into some tight stuff. Found that little line. It worked out well. I was able to pass a few people using it after a few laps. Again, it kills me whenever people come to a stop like that. Like, I understand you bobble, you make mistakes. You just gotta get up and get going. Again, I'm doing that just to try to keep them moving, just to let them know that they're not the last guy in the line. You know, there is someone behind them that wants to keep moving forward. So I don't want them to just get lazy and stop or slow down to a crawl. I want to keep motivating them to keep pushing forward. That's my biggest thing for kind of hooting, yelling, whatever, while we're in this tight stuff. Again, I enjoyed the tight stuff. I like riding it. It works out well for me because I'm pretty proficient at it. It's the high-speed stuff that I struggle with. So, like I said, I'm working on it. I was able to do that a couple times as well and get by people. So. Found neutral.
Inside, 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 inside.
Again, just letting them know I'm there. This section was really slick right there. If you got on the gas right there, it just spun. So you have to be really, really cautious with the throttle.
Inside.
Just letting them know where I am. I don't want them to dive down while I dive in and take us both out. Doing these races, my intention is never to crash anyone. It's never to take anyone out. You know, I don't want to crash myself. You know, I know they're racing their race. They want to do well in their race. You know, I'm just trying to do well in my race as well. Coming back through scoring. I don't know what lap this is. But still sitting in first. So I had first for the whole race. It was nice. I had fun. Like I said, my goal this race was to try to overall it. Just with so much traffic and quite a few bottlenecks, I fell short. I got 6th overall, which I'm still proud of. Had fun doing it. But my goal was to get old Hartwell, David James, and old Patrick Tobin. So I just wanted to add this in the very end of the video. We're coming into a tight section, and something I'll do is if, like during a hare scramble, I'll know a tight section. I'll know where there's a few alternate lines, and I'll try to coach someone. So if you listen, I'll tell this guy to go low. See, I wanted him to go low so I could stay high and get by him. But he ended up going low there. I was able to stay high, scoot by. And then I come up to this guy. So I caught up to him pretty quick. And then, you know, we run into a little bit of traffic. You know, he's squeezing through, he's moving forward. That's great. Awesome. Keep moving. That's the idea. And then he just comes to this. He just stops. Now, I'm being a little obnoxious. But then he starts kicking my fender. You know, he's more worried about me than moving forward. This is a race. You race. You don't come out here for a trail ride to stop on the trail. Okay? He should have been motivating the guy in front of him to keep going. Not worried about me. So anyway, I got through all them, kept going, and he ended up at the start finish line later on and just mean mugged me every time I came through. I don't really care. You know, I'm out here racing, I'm not trail riding. But So this is my first time doing a voiceover. Let me know what you think about it, and if you like it, I'll do some more. If you hate it, then let me know. So I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully I can get some more videos out. It's been a while. Later.